Good afternoon, hello. My name is Daniel. This is the TriathlonDan YouTube channel. On this channel, I document many things: triathlon training, racing, life, and everything that happens in between. But what I don't do very often is this, a full-on like Q&A. So thank you very much to those of you who submitted some questions on my recent Instagram story. I really appreciate it because Q&As are quite awkward without any questions. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this. Some of these questions are difficult and some are pretty straightforward, and I'm going to try and categorize them into like training, life, YouTube, vaguely. Bear with me, this should be a good one. So first up, the like training related questions. I've had a couple of questions about strength and conditioning. So firstly, why don't I take strength and conditioning seriously? For injury prevention, it is a must. And then secondly, Hannah Monday has asked, how many hours of S&C am I doing a week? Hannah has a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Firstly, why don't I take it seriously? Well, the honest answer is because I don't enjoy it. When I do swim, bike and run, generally I'm doing those with other people, sometimes on my own, but more often than not with other people. I'm getting that mental stimulus, I'm getting that fun through being out with your friends. I never do S&C in a group environment, so I'm just like rolling around like a beach whale in my living room. It doesn't really give me any satisfaction. I know that it is, good for injury prevention, but it's taken me having a few injuries to really actually get me to buy into that. So I don't take it seriously still, is the honest answer, but I do what I can. Hannah, how many hours do I do a week? I think I'm doing between 30 and 45 minutes per day. So what is that, 3 to 4 hours a week? But strength and conditioning for me is more about like functional movements than it is about like lifting big weights. I know that some people might say that's not strength and conditioning, but I'm coming from nothing. So a lot of mine is just like body weight squats, stretches, lunges, other movements like doing like step ups on the stairs and those sorts of things, rather than actually going to a gym and pumping some iron. That might have to change in the future, but we will see. Jack has asked, what is my favourite bike session and least favourite swim session? My favourite bike sessions are the ones where I feel like I'm constantly on the pedals. They're the most rewarding, I feel, in terms of like when you finish it, you're like, yes, that was a good workout. There's one specific one that Coach Chris sets me. It is something like 4.5 minutes at a hard tempo, maybe just under sweet spot or around sweet spot, and then 30 seconds at either threshold or just over threshold, like back to back maybe 10 times or 12 times, so 50 minutes to an hour. And that isn't like a hugely difficult session. It is mentally to get started, but like that 4.5 minutes at like a hard tempo, 30 seconds really hard, then drop back down to still a hard pace. I feel like I do well at those sorts of intensities, so it's good to do a session you think you perform well. And as I said, they're the ones I feel like when you're done, you're like, yeah, well done, TriathlonDan, good session. Least favourite swim sessions. Now, I'm not known as a swimmer, but I do actually quite enjoy my swimming at the minute, particularly in our Thursday night group. The least session or least thing to do, favourite thing to do, is any sort of drill. It's probably because I'm not that good at swimming, but I don't feel that drills really have an improvement on my stroke. And when I'm doing some drills, I just feel like I'm like flopping around in the water and not really doing anything productive. I'm probably doing them wrong and I need to spend more time doing them, but any sort of drill is not enjoyable for me at the minute. Charlie has asked, and Charlie does also have a YouTube channel, I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. Why don't I commit 100% to cycling and see what I can do? Now, this is a constant battle I have in my mind. Honestly, I've thought about it often, especially when I pick up some sort of swimming or running injury. But there are a few reasons why I've decided not to. Back in 2019, early 2020, I was in the best bike shape I've ever been in, and I don't honestly think that I can get back there. I'm now 32. Are you past your athletic prime or what? I don't know. I haven't got as much time available in life anymore to train. Like it'd be really difficult for me to get back to that level. And that level where I was at, so I think I got up to something like either 4.8 or 4.9 watts per kilo as a threshold, and a pretty decent like 5-10 minute power, those sorts of things. But I wasn't really doing any racing. I don't think I can get back there. That might sound quite defeatist, but I know what it took for me to get there in the first place. I hardly ran for 6 months for starters. I don't think it's possible for me to get back there. I'm certainly going to be giving it a good crack this year and into next year, but I just don't think that if I was to commit, put all my eggs in the cycling basket, I don't think I'd actually make huge amounts of steps forward. I might be wrong, but I don't think that would be the case. And also, I really enjoy triathlons as an event and as a thing. So like the whole community in the triathlon world, when you go to a race, sometimes it's a trip abroad, or it's a weekend with friends, those sorts of things. And you don't really get that so much in bike racing, or not at my level. You do get it if you go into Europe to do some UCI races and stuff, like I know Charlie does, but like our local like crits are, they're over in an hour or two, and that's sort of it. And cycling's really cutthroat if you're after results as like a success measure. When you stand on a start line, there's 80 guys on the start line, but only one of you is going home happy that day with the win. So if you're wanting results, bike racing is really hard. I've been crit racing now 3 years and I've won 2 crits. I've done quite a few, and flat crits are probably like most suited to me, like physically. So that's not a huge amount of success in the races that I've done. Whereas in triathlons, every triathlon I've done, I've took some positive from. Maybe you've had a PB swim split, you've had a good bike power, or the event itself was incredible, or you've PB'd the whole distance, or you've got an age group result, or something like that. There's a lot more opportunity to be happy with and enjoy the sport, I feel. And we've got some more YouTube questions coming up in future. I can't ignore the fact that I've spent so long trying to build this YouTube channel, which is based around me doing triathlon. So if I was to change that, maybe that will change. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like I'm committed to this as well. Now, if life at some point in the future dictates to me, like if I get some injury where I can't ever run again, hopefully that won't happen, then yes, I'd probably just focus on cycling if I had to pick a sport. But for the time being, I'm going to continue trying to be mediocre at 3. Luke has asked, what will children do for my YouTube or triathlon training? Now, full disclaimer, Liz is not, to my knowledge, pregnant, and so I don't really know, and maybe parents can comment this with a bit more informed knowledge down below, but I'd imagine your life priorities change, don't they? So I know that, for example, if I had 3 kids, I couldn't be doing this every day, and I couldn't be doing the training that I do every day, but like your life changes, doesn't it? I'm sure I'd find other reward in life, and I'm not saying it's impossible to do what I do right now with children, because plenty of people do lots of things, but I don't really know is the honest answer. I know he's gone now, but having a cat is sort of like semi-preparation, but yeah, I don't really know. Okay, then on to the YouTube section, and strangely, this is the section that I've had the most questions about. So let me try and like categorize these together. Firstly, about software. A couple of people have asked, what software do I use to edit videos? Now, it depends what it is. If I'm doing bike racing content, I have to go through a whole rigmarole to put data on the screen before I then edit it. So I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my day-to-day vlogs, and I use it for everything really. I use the free version. I haven't paid 300 quid to upgrade it. It is better in the paid version. There's more things you can do in terms of your slow-mo can be slower, and there's more options with colors and things, but I just don't utilize those things. So I don't think it'd be good value for me to spend 300 quid on that. I certainly don't feel limited by the software. I think once you've got used to using something as well, so some people I know use Adobe Premiere Pro, and I don't know if it's any better or any worse, but I'd have to go through and learn how to use it again and almost start again. And because I'm like pumping out so many videos, I know all the shortcuts, I know how it works, I know where everything is, and the workflow works so much better because I use it. I am currently testing using the Insta360 desktop editing suite. Not for Insta360 content, but for GoPro bike racing footage. It's a bit more easy to use. Garmin, previously, you have to use Garmin Verb Edit to put data onto video files from bike racing or from any racing. And Garmin don't support it anymore, so it's not been updated in a while. It's laggy, it's glitchy, it's buggy. It ruins the colors on my videos as well, and it's not sustainable for me to use a software package that isn't supported. Starting using the Insta360, it seems a lot more user-friendly for like the average Joe like me. Things like DaVinci Resolve are great if you know how to color grade and if you know how to do all these different motions, but Insta360 makes it a lot easier because there's one button to make it brighter. There's one button to like blur the edges so the motion appears faster. It's a bit more like beginner, which is honestly me. So I'm testing that at the minute. I'm hoping to use that for the bike racing content I've got planned in the next few weeks, but it is a bit of like trial and error to see if it works or not. How do I decide what content to put out, and do I plan ahead? Right, if you could be a fly on the wall in this house, you would have your eyes opened. It's a constant thought of mine. I'm constantly thinking about what the next few days' videos look like. Have I recorded them? What do I need to do them? Am I doing a training session that ties into them? Have I got something I need to edit that evening? All these different things, it's a constant thought. Now, I've gone through different times when I've either had a document that I use and I keep up to date versus not planning at all, and now I've settled somewhere in the middle. So for my what I call daily content, so if I'm doing a vlog of the day, well, it's creating itself. Something happens in the house or out training, I don't need to plan it. The other videos, so even like this, I will have a notes page, because then it links my phone to my laptop, so they're both Apple, and I'll just jot down ideas as and when they come to me. So I might be out and about somewhere, just think of something, I'll jot it down. And that helps me plan out and structure the videos. I try and have like a few vlogs and then a different type of video, a few vlogs and a different type of video. If I'm thinking about trying to grow the channel, then the daily videos, I'm just doing a bit of triathlon training, they're great, but they're never gonna reach like a super wide audience and grow the channel at pace. They're like more like a consistent, like, you know, really linear growth sort of thing, which is fine. The ones where I talk about things like, I don't know, buying my next canyon, or sponsorship changes in pro triathlon, or all the things where I talk about specific topics, or maybe highly searched things, have the chance to reach a wider audience more so than the daily stuff. But my channel theme is about this daily journey, so I don't just want to spend like weeks and weeks banging out videos about where I'm reacting to things or talking about topical things to try and get views. I find that channels that do that sort of thing, big views, small views, big views, small views, as my channel is quite predictable, because thanks to you guys and girls checking in day after day, there's a number of people who follow that daily journey. So I could, and I've tested it in the past, I could put a video titled anything, and I could roughly estimate how many views I think it might do in the first few hours, just because some people who watch these videos, and it's so kind, will watch it regardless of what it's titled or thumbnailed or what it's about. So it's weird, it's hard to think through, and I think you can be a victim of trying to strive for perfection. If you're thinking about, how can I make this amazing video, it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you have to remember that it is just YouTube, and if the video doesn't do well, go on to the next one, and just keep like buying those lottery tickets, and at some point you'll get a jackpot. Going a bit deep now, but I'm also trying to think about the long-term strategy of this channel. It can't always be about me and me doing my training, because I might not, like, I've had 5 months of injuries and it's been really difficult during that time. So having other people on the channel and documenting other things is a bit of a test to see how it goes down and how that works, and to see if I can make it viable. Things like, for example, going to have a training day with Hugo Milner. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully it was good for Hugo. I certainly enjoyed putting the video out. And was the video like profitable or worthwhile on paper? Absolutely not. But is it worthwhile for me and this channel? I think absolutely so. And I'm just trying to think about that sort of thing in the future, how I make that more of a thing. And like when I went to Calpe and was ill, Lee took over doing the videos for 2 or 3 days, and they did really well. And somebody else doing the videos didn't, I think, feel as alien as it might do on other people's channels, because I have other people on my channel all the time. So I'm thinking about all those things as I'm putting videos together and putting them out there. And even as I just say that, a couple of the questions are, when's Lee taking over, and when's the channel being rebranded to Triathlon Lee? And that just shows I'm so grateful for people like supporting these people who come on and take over a video for a day, because they're often quite nervous. So the final question is about YouTube revenue. I think it'd be interesting to see, only really see people with millions of views and subscribers. And I would agree, we don't see enough of creators sharing what YouTube is worth to them as a monetary value. Now, I have in the past, I've done 2 videos actually, where I've talked about how much this channel has made in a year, and where it comes from, and how YouTube pays people, and all of that. But in honesty, the videos have never really done very well. So therefore, when I've done them, I've thought, did people actually want to see that, or is it just a minority? Now, given there's a question about it, it shows that there is some desire for it, but I guess I don't really know whether I should make content about that or not. The channel's not really about it, but it is part of the journey, and the channel is about the journey, so I don't really know. Now, to answer your question and put some numbers on it, YouTube pays creators based on the adverts that people see in the review videos. So you've clicked on this video, there'll probably be an advert at the beginning, there's probably an advert at the end. Now, videos longer than 8 minutes can have what's called mid-roll adverts. So you might be 2 minutes in and an advert pops up. Now, I don't ever put those on videos over 8 minutes. So no video that I put out on this channel has an advert in the middle of it. Creators can control that, but we can't control what the adverts are or how long they are, when adverts are allowed. So I could make more revenue if I allowed mid-roll adverts, but I don't, because I think that I value people taking the time to watch the videos. I think having an advert before the video plays is almost like fair enough. And then halfway through a video, I don't want an advert breaking up that video that I've put together. I want you to watch it and enjoy it. And I know a lot of people who watch this channel are probably on the turbo or the treadmill, or they're trying to juggle 3 kids and cooking tea and whatever else. I don't want them to have to, watch adverts throughout. I know you can sign up to YouTube Premium and all that, but I like to think that it's like a smooth watching process. So that's a very long way around of me saying I could make a bit more money, but actually AdSense to the majority of creators isn't their main income source through YouTube. And prior to this year, that was the case for me as well. So to put numbers on it, last year my channel did 860,000 views and it paid me about 3.5 grand. So a lot of money, and I could go into it in a separate video if there's the appetite. There's a lot of costs associated. I know last year this thing lost money. By the time you buy things and pay for video support and all these other things, it costs more money. But that's not a plea for poverty. It is so cool that this actually generates some sort of revenue. I just need to try and figure out how to make it 10, 20, 30 times that. But it's all part of the journey, isn't it? And we all work from there. And that's why having partners are so important. So at the beginning of this video, you'll see a little thing come up that says thanks to Hoob and NRG Chains. And that's not just like I've got to put that up. That is a genuine, that's why I put it on every video. I couldn't do this without the support of those people, because they enable me to do things like take Chris to Calpe, get him to come to events, and even Outlaw Events supporting me this year with getting my video guide there, etc. So it's been a long journey. It's nowhere near profitable at the minute, but it is something I'm thinking about, but I don't want it to be about the money until I have to rely on it for a living, if that ever happens. So hope that answers your question, and I don't know if that's surprising to you or not in terms of amounts of money. Now, bigger creators will often earn more than that if their videos are doing thousands of views, but I do also think putting out lots of videos helps as well. So I'm not just putting out a video a week. I did something like 330 videos in 2023, so there's a lot. Anyway, that is the end of it. Thank you very much for all your questions. If you've got any more, feel free to drop in the comment section down below. I'll either answer them in the comments or I'll pick it up in a future video. I appreciate you watching. I know this is probably a lot longer than a few minutes, but thank you very much. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.